Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Hey everyone, welcome to the final episode of Season 1 of Democracy Exchange with the Depot. You guys know me, you all love me, I'm your host, Samantha Conrad, but today we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. We are going to be, I guess, introducing, but they've always been here, my lovely internship team for this past previous year. And I mean this when I say this, that guys, we couldn't have done this without them, so they are extremely important. But we're also going to be doing something else fun, and we're going to be introducing next year's team. So, very exciting. Okay, like I said, you guys all know me, you guys all love me. I'm your host and researcher for this podcast, Samantha Conrad. But let's move on to our production team. First, we have Maria. Yay, Maria!
Hi, my name is Maria. I am the social media intern. I started out as just a media production intern, but I moved into the social media role. And we are all graduating soon, and I'm really excited to see where the Depot goes. And my next fellow production intern.
What is up, guys? It's Sam Perry. I do a lot of the podcasting side of it all, so recording the audio and video, as well as editing the whole podcast, creating short-form content as well to post onto the YouTube channel and the TikTok. If you aren't subscribed or followed on either, even the Instagram, you should go do that.
Yes, go follow us. We need to shout that out more.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Tell our friends we're awesome over here.
Please.
All right, I'm going to start off just by saying, I'm going to pose this question so you guys can think while I respond. What has been your guys' favorite part of working on the podcast this year? Because mine by far have been the guests. In my opinion, they've all been awesome. It's been actually I'm really nerdy about politics, as you guys can probably guess, but I've loved all of our guests. I've always thought they were like super interesting. I've genuinely learned stuff, obviously, which is like what we're here to do when they come on. So my favorite part has like been by far interviewing the guests, getting their perspectives, just kind of hearing what they have to say. That's been the most rewarding part in my opinion. What about you guys?
When you asked the question, the first thing that came to mind were the guests, because I feel like we had such a wide range and we got to talk about a lot of topics that I didn't expect us to talk about. Like, we learned more about the food pantry and, like, the resources around the area. We even had an episode on AI. I'm sad we never got to have Rodney Rogers on, though.
That is a
we
task
never got to have him on.
for next year's interns.
Next
guys.
year's
Get on
interns. They're going to get on it.
Good luck.
Good luck. He's a very important man.
He is.
Yeah, I definitely think that the guests were really cool, and it was crazy that we got as many on the podcast as we did, because we started this whole thing last semester, which is crazy that we were able to start it and then get it going and be at the point that we're at. I think besides the guests, obviously, I did learn a lot more about like production and audio and what it takes to start a podcast, which I think was really cool, and I've learned it in a class or two, but I haven't actually like experienced the struggles. And we worked really hard to get it to where it is. So I think that's something that like you can only get from starting one yourself or doing it as an internship.
A lot of struggles.
Yeah.
A lot of struggles, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. And it's been really fun seeing us grow. Like, actually, like, seeing our YouTube channel grow is super cool. Go follow us on there, like we said. But, like, seeing our YouTube channel is super cool. Going forward, what would you guys like to see as people who are going to keep up with Depot? Obviously, what would you guys like to see? Like, where would you guys like to see Depot go in the future?
Well, my goal was to reach 50 followers on the Instagram account, and we made that goal. So I'm thinking we set some little goals, maybe 100 followers.
Yeah, I'm gonna get 50 more.
I mean, and we've gotten a lot more equipment and stuff. So I would hope to see more like in-person interviews. Maybe some of our interns in the future feel more comfortable doing that. It was a bit harder to do with only the three of us, the in-person, on the street type of interviews. So hopefully more of those will come the Depot's way.
I definitely think because there's going to be more interns, it'll be easier to like spread out and do more.
Yeah.
Because again, it was a lot for us on our plate, but we managed to do it anyway. I definitely want to see a lot more high quality production, I guess. Because, again, we started with nothing and we started using the radio station. And hopefully we have the equipment now that we can make something a little more personal to Depot and actually make something that looks like something Depot would do. Definitely more guests, maybe Rodney Rogers.
Maybe.
But definitely a lot more like posting about the actual findings of the polls that we have and things as well, I think would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I basically like what you guys said, but I mean, add a little bit more. I would love to see Depot have have a massive campus presence in like the future. I would love that. I think like what we do here is like so important, and I actually think that if Depot had if we just were able to grow our campus presence, we would make such a good impact. I think we already have, but I think we would have even better impact. And like I would like to see more guests from the community, as well as just like maybe some high profile guests, I don't know, but like I would like to see guests from the community and just be able to I want to be like a safe space for BG going forward, like the community as well, just not just the school. So that's kind of one of the things that I would hope to see in the future. And I don't know, to your point, Sammy, I think that you were talking about production. I think that you guys have been able to create something that is so professional looking and such a good starting point that I think that there's a lot of room to grow, but we've also done a lot to have a starting point. Definitely. So I'm really excited to see where it goes in the future.
That would be cool if next semester, when is Campus Fest? Because it would be cool to have like one of those tables and stuff
like
to
September.
You guys, we should do that.
We got a banner coming on the way too.
We have a banner coming.
We do in fact have a banner.
A banner.
So we can
Bruce
always
banner.
use that. Bruce. Okay. Hold on now.
Hulk smash.
Okay. I think another thing that would be cool to see is just being able to be like, oh, what's your internship? Oh, it's Depot. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's that podcast or something.
Yeah.
I think
instead of having to explain it every single time.
Right. But like going
What's
with
the
like
Depot?
the campus wide knowledge of it and maybe community wide knowledge of it. I think it'd be really cool to see like people be like people want to do Depot. Obviously people want to do it now.
Yeah.
We have amazing interns coming in, but I think it'd be cool to have people like be the ones to approach and be like, hey, I heard that you have some people leaving. I'm always here. I'm always open, and I wanna do something with Depot, even if it's just socials or even if it's just hosting or research or something, anything related to Depot. I think there's so much that Depot has that there's so many like opportunities for people to do from like any field. I think it'd be really cool to see more expansion on that as well.
I 100% agree. Just to round us off here, guys, what is a piece of advice that you would like to give to next year's interns?
I would say just stick at it. It's really easy to get caught up in your school and classes and stuff, and it's really easy to push your internship responsibilities to the back burner, especially during finals week or exam heavy periods of time. But just always having an idea ready for the next thing is what kept me kind of going with the social media when I didn't really have a lot of ideas, just always thinking about the next thing, I would say.
I had something, and now I forget. Let's
Oh,
see.
no.
We can, if you want to think about it, we can go to me, because I do have
Yeah, let's
something.
do that.
Okay.
do that.
Okay, so my advice, I would say just to be fearless. I would say, obviously, use your brains, be smart, have discretion, but I would say for the most part, be fearless. Don't be afraid to speak on things that you want to speak on, and don't be afraid that like the powers above or whoever are going to like silence you, because the stuff we do here is very important. Like very important. I can't emphasize that enough. And I think being brave, I think taking risks is part of, if you do that, you're doing it right, in my opinion. I think it has to be part of what we do here, because if not, we're just another whatever. I think you have to be smart, but I think you also need to be gutsy. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. That's all I got.
That reminded me of what I wanted to say.
Yay!
Okay, so a lot of it is just to do it, honestly. Dr. Alexander is very open to ideas, and he loves hearing your thoughts and your ideas. So even if you think it's the stupidest thing on the planet, say it. Someone else might come up with another idea off of that idea and springboard. But for the most part, just have the confidence to do something, try something new.
Yeah.
We would not be here or where we are today if we just kind of were worried about every little thing. We really just kind of had to start the podcast, and that's what we did.
Right.
I would also say just be confident in your abilities. You know more than you think you do, and don't let other people say that it's a stupid thing, or the comments that you will probably get now or in the future. Just don't let it get to you. Know that you're here for a reason, and you're good at what you do. There's a reason you're here, and
Yeah, confidence is key. And just to go back to my point of just sticking at it, like, you're learning skills that are going to help you at your next job. That's what an internship is for. So confidence really is key, and Dr. A is really not going to shoot you down ever. No. So just always be fearless and go after that story, or go after that person on campus that you think would be interesting to talk to, go to that club meeting.
Also, don't be afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
Just let everyone know about it. I am relentless on LinkedIn about it. I'm not kidding. Yeah. Every other post that I have is related to Depot. And it's something because I'm proud of it. And it's something you should be proud of too. Even if it's the smallest thing, even if it's one governor instead of two, it's really cool what you're doing. And a lot of people are listening. I've had people come up to me who I didn't even think knew who I was, who has been like, hey, I've seen the work you've been doing. It's really cool. And then now they're involved. Things like that. So I think just being able to own what you're doing and being proud of what you're doing is something that you should also keep in mind.
I would say also, just as a final note for this topic, just be don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Truly. Yeah. It is not that big of a deal. It really isn't. At the end of the day, you're going to make mistakes. That's how you learn. It's an old saying, but it's true. You guys are going to make mistakes. It's fine. Pick yourself back up, be like, okay, I learned something, and then move on. It's Dr. A is so supportive. We have a very supportive community here at BG too. The whole community, it's a really supportive environment. Be yourself, make mistakes, pick yourself up, you'll be just fine.
Yes. Big shout out to Dr. Alexander.
Yes, big ups, lad.
We love you and we'll miss you, but you can't get rid of us. We will be here still. We'll stop by.
So haunting the walls.
Yes, the Depot founders.
Ooh. That's something I want. I want the Depot to have its own little space that's decorated and nice next semester.
Oh, I think he's working on that.
He should. Everybody deserves their little cozy. Yeah.
We deserve
the banner, Bruce Banner.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for talking with me. Thank you for coming on here. I mean it when I say that even though I'm the host of this podcast, it genuinely, I could not do anything that you guys do. So thank you for making the podcast happen. So it's not just me sitting here talking. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And I'm really going to miss working with you.
Don't make me sad. I can't do that.
Okay.
You're gonna make me cry.
All right, everyone. This has been Maria and Sammy.
This has been us with the Depot signing off.
Bye.
Bye.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
I'll be watching.
Bye.
All right, guys. Now that we've said goodbye to Maria and Sammy, now onto a more yay, excited for the future topic. Okay, we're going to introduce all of our lovely new interns for next year, for season 2 of the podcast, if you will. Hey, guys. Look, it's all the interns. Yay. Okay. What they're going to do is they're going to go around and introduce themselves, and then I have some questions for them. Let's start this way.
Hello, my name is Connor Hand. I am a second-year political science and history major here at Bowling Green State University. I'm excited to be next season's co-host of the Depot podcast. It's a new role that I'll be stepping into, and heavily excited about it. I got into politics during the COVID-19 lockdowns. I just had way too much time on my hands and decided I might as well start doing something with my life. So,
hi, I'm Anna. I'm a second-year political science major with a minor in peace and conflict studies. I am also excited to be next year's podcast host with Connor. And my journey into politics started from a young age. I started reading a lot of books growing up about famous activists in America, especially women activists like Susan B. Anthony and Rosa Parks. And as I grew up, I started to realize that I could also be an activist in my own way, because in this democracy we have the ability to be civically engaged and to vote and to have our voices in politics. And that is a fascinating concept that drives me and I'm wanting to continue to expand upon, which is one of the reasons I am so excited to host this podcast, because we're going to do a lot more of that next year and the year after. And I'm grateful to the founders who started it this year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julia Amlin. I am a third-year media production student at Bowling Green here, and I'm very excited to work with the podcast. I'm very passionate about production, and it's exciting to, get to work on something that I think will present important issues to a community that I think should have conversations about them. So I'm looking forward to learning production.
Yay. I'm Brynn. I am a third-year media production major, and I kind of learned about this podcast through one of the past interns, Sam Perry. When I learned about it, it just kind of seemed like something I would really be interested in, because I almost did major in political science, and I obviously ended up in media production, so I think it really combines a lot of my interests, and same as Julia, just combining media and talking about issues that are important to our community and to the country. So I'm really excited to learn more, and also just learn more about audio production and podcast production, because I've never worked in a podcast before.
Hey, my name is Tommy. I kind of got aware of this podcast also due to Sam, as well as Brynn kind of letting me know what's on the up and up about it, and I'm very glad I took the opportunity for it. I got into media production mostly through the power of music. And I would say a statement that a lot of people agree with is music is inherently political, has a lot of messages within it. And I think I would love to use whatever skills I've learned through media production to also give people more information about what's going on nowadays and kind of start that conversation and just throw my hat in the ring to allow people to engage in politics in a very civil and well-mannered way.
Sweet. Okay, now that we've met all of the interns, I'm going to go around and I want you guys to answer for me one thing or a couple things that you're looking forward to doing next year. And we'll start with you, Connor.
Yeah, so looking forward to next year. I'm extremely excited to start working with the depot, especially the research side of things. Research just really scratches that itch in my brain. I just have 30 tabs open and I just feel like I'm getting everything all put together. So to be able to sit down and kind of prepare questions ahead of time, reach out to people ahead of time, get briefs together, that's, I think, going to be what I take away the most from next year. But I'm also excited to see what else it leads me to and what other journeys I'm going to embark upon.
I'm really excited to learn more about interesting topics in politics and current events and what's going on in this world. This podcast has brought in a lot of interesting perspectives about different current events already, and I want to continue on that. And I have a lot of ideas for different podcast episodes, and I'm really excited to learn from experts who have great knowledge about the current events and different things that are going on in the world that I just hope they can talk more about, and viewers and myself can really learn and form opinions based off of these experts. So I'm very excited for that next year.
Awesome. I guess I'm quite excited on the production aspect to work on a podcast. It's not something I have a ton of experience in yet, so I think it'll be a good learning process. And then personally, I'm quite interested in psychology and communication, and I think it's important to have a safe space to go to talk about issues that might be somewhat controversial or hard to have with people. And I'm happy to hopefully be producing something that is both creatively fulfilling and I find social value in communication as well. So looking forward to whatever comes of it. Be good.
Beautifully said. I'm excited just because the Depot podcast is kind of a multimedia production. It has both camera and audio, and kind of through my media journey, I've learned more on the camera side. So I'm really excited to learn more about audio production and podcast production, while also learning more about politics and more about my fellow interns. I'm excited to get to know everybody. And just combining all of our skill sets together to make something that is important and educational, because I think using media as a vehicle for education is definitely one of the most, I think, important things we can do as media students.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited for, I guess, one, getting to know all of you guys, but also, I guess, finding ways to, I guess, educate people using whatever skills we have to create content in a meaningful way. I'm sure we've all come across like content on Instagram or whatever that is either like really bad at educating or just kind of saying nothing at the same time. And I knew from one time when I was interning at Falcon Media, and we did a political-esque talking point for a video, and people had a very, very strong reaction of not wanting to speak on anything. I knew, hey, I feel like this is a challenge that me as a media person, I need to try to figure out, because I really, really want to be able to create content that, allows people to make informed opinions about our society.
To your point, Tommy, this is just like not a tangent, but like, I think that one of the things I'm most excited to like see you guys and future interns so many years into the future, hopefully, is to kind of, because I feel like the campus of BG at the very least is very, they're kind of shy almost politically, or it's just kind of something that isn't discussed as much. So I'm really excited to see where you guys go in the future, and I really want Depot to be like a space where people, like you said, Tommy, can have like these political discussions, and what you guys have all kind of said, in a way that's like actually engaging and meaningful. And because I've heard people say like, oh, I don't talk with my roommates about politics because like it's too controversial and like we don't want to like stir the pot or whatever. But I don't believe in that, obviously. So I think that one of the things that Depot can really be a resource for in the future is having these conversations, engaging with people who don't think the same way that you do, and just the podcast in general, like being an informative resource for people who want to get into politics but like have no idea where to start. Because I met so many people like that. They're like, oh yeah, I have opinions, but like I don't know where to start. And I think that this can be a safe space for people to engage with each other. And like I said, I want Depot to be a resource more than anything for the community. So I'm really excited to see where you guys take that in the future. And to round us off, I do have one more question. And that question is what's a topic that you guys, or it doesn't have to be super specific, it can be vague, that you guys would like to explore in the future on the podcast?
I think it's really hard to narrow down one topic, especially when you have a whole year to work with. So I'm going to kind of skirt around that and say two instead, if you don't mind. But I'm really excited to talk local politics. I want to have some more involvement from the campus in the local BG and larger Wood County community. But also I'd like to talk especially about like electoral reform, campaign reform, stuff like that, and see if we can get any experts in to kind of weigh in with their opinions on the state of how our, Constitution was written and how we kind of enact that nowadays in terms of elections.
I'm excited for, this is kind of a vague answer, but I want this podcast in my mind to help inform viewers on what's going on in current events, because I know I get New York Times notifications because we have a free premium subscription account, so I see what's going on. But those can be just like the headlines, and not a lot of students know deeper what's going on. I would like to learn from informed experts who can discuss and analyze current events, and so we can take it in and think about what's going on and how that interacts with our society, how that we can interact with our peers, and how we can think about our steps for the future and getting involved with whatever current events are going on. So I think topics are going to be formed around maybe about the headlines, but also just about bigger things that we need to know more information about. So I'm just hopefully we can stay relevant and current on that.
I guess on a broad level, a lot of the conversations I have with my peers are just difficulty in finding sourcing and information that feels accurate, feels accessible, and comprehensive when forming whatever political beliefs may be. Maybe it would be interesting to talk about, it might seem simple for some people, but where do I find accurate sourcing and where do I form my opinions in a non-biased way? And hopefully this will be a place where students can learn.
That would be
and off of topics, but just in high school, I wish they focused more on my personal finance. I also wish that we would speak a bit more on where, as an adult, to find sourcing. And our media, I would say the ecosystem of media is changing, so that causes complications at times. But as a young person, I find it difficult to keep myself informed in a non-biased way. And that goes for all sides of the board. So could be something worth touching into, maybe a bit more specific.
For sure. Yeah. I agree with Julia. I feel like with social media, it's extremely hard to find non-biased information just with like algorithms and with filter bubbles. Like you can't really escape like your own little opinion bubble. So I'm hoping like next year we can really reach a wide group of people and like bring in conversation with as many different types of people as possible. And kind of more specifically, I know like Julie and I both work for PBS, and obviously PBS and NPR have been in the news lately about public media like potentially getting defunded. So that might be something interesting to talk about next year as well, especially since that kind of touches our local community. And PBS has employed thousands of students over, the 60 years that they've been around here. So that's something that I would love to talk about maybe next year.
I know one thing that I've always been really interested within politics is kind of even the misinformation that is able to be spread easily throughout media, because obviously since we're all media majors, we kind of have to track some of this stuff, and seeing the blatant disinformation throughout social media, but even sometimes throughout like reputable news sources, it's kind of insane to me. And taking like a closer look at that, maybe having a few experts on will be really, really really good to know, because trying to be able to get the tools for just normal civilians that aren't trained in media to be able to spot misinformation is going to be highly crucial going forward in our current climate. And I think it's really important for anyone to know how to do that.
I 100% agree. And it's really nice to know that you guys are all interested in this and invested in it. And I would just like to say that, in my opinion, the podcast and Depot in general is going to be in very good hands going forward. I'm really excited for you guys, and I'm grateful for you guys, and I will be keeping close tabs on everything that you guys do in the future. I'm very excited. And with that, on that note, I'm signing off. This has been the last episode of Season 1, Democracy Exchange with the Depot. It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you to all of our listeners, viewers, whatever. I'm your host and researcher, not anymore, but I've been your host and researcher, Samantha Conrad. And special thanks to Falcon Radio and Professor Robert Alexander, our founder. Join us next time at Democracy Exchange with the Depot. To find the video version of this podcast, you can find us on our YouTube page at BGSU Depot. Bye for now.